Hi everyone, welcome to today's interpretation of the upcoming eclipse in Leo, 20 degrees of Leo, solar eclipse. And we are just going to have an effect of sort of a curtain rising and falling in some area of our life. Let's talk about that. Before we begin, my name is Alex. I like to think of myself as an astro detective. I use astrology to map my own psyche and what's going on around me, and I help people do that. I use a tropical system, and I'm a Western astrologer. For those of you that know about systems. We'll talk about the eclipse, what it means for each and every rising sign, right? Ascendant sign. I'm sure you have heard this before. Rising sign, the constellation of stars that was rising at the hour of your birth. If you looked at the eastern horizon, when you were born, a little crying baby, the time was, let's say, 20 past 8 a.m. The rising constellation was 29 degrees of Leo, for example. So that's your ascendant. So yes, we're going to use the ascendant because that's where we see things happening. We can actually see them manifest. Our rising sign, our first house, ascendant, something rising, ascending. And we don't really look at the sun sign. It won't have as much signification as the ascending sign, the rising sign. And if you don't know that, there are places where time of birth was not recorded for little babies in the villages, and depending where you were born. And you can comfortably use your moon sign. When you use your moon sign to interpret the eclipse, think of the moon as an internal agent. What does that mean? The psychological process, maybe, my moon's in Cancer and I feel this way about a certain thing that is manifesting in my life. My rising may be Scorpio, and then I'll see the manifestation in that first house, but I will be feeling it in a Cancer way, right? It may not reveal it. I may withdraw, be isolated. This is just a brief explanation on how to look at the signification of this eclipse. And you may notice that I'm using this old 3D physical aid. I'm not using digital tools, even though I have done in the past. And I've had this sort of a revelation. I have my 12th house is filled with planets, very busy. So in one of my dreams, I kind of had this revelation that actually as a humanity right now, what we need would be to go back to a 3D reality, to things we can touch and feel and taste. And there is a value to that. So we don't want to lose that. We don't want to lose these earthly blessings that we have. Of course, we're going to use digital tools as well. But we don't want to lose. We don't want to lose what we have been blessed with. So hence the reason that I am a little bit. Some people would say old-fashioned, but going back to school, to the board. Thank you. So now we'll begin with Aries, the first sign of the zodiac. If your ascendant is Aries, or your moon is Aries, if it's the ascendant, naturally it's the first house. The house that signifies the way we are perceived, the way we look, our avatar, our mask in the world, and the way we interface the world. So this is the first house. You're already hosting two planets there. We have Neptune and Saturn. Neptune at around 4 degrees, going retrograde, and Saturn. There's a special video that I will make about these two planets, that have a very diametrically opposing flavor to them. Saturn, that is hardening of the reality, and then Neptune, that is illusion, imagination, ideas. So when we put them together, we can turn dreams into reality. And what does that mean to you? So that means that they're going to be huge dissolutions in your persona, the way you carry yourself. And then based on that, after we have this solution, we can then rebuild something new. But let me refocus back on the eclipse. The eclipse for you falls into the 5th house. This is how we do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And these houses, what do they mean? Simply put, areas of life. So what does 5th house represent? You can see it's really busy. This little green snaky cobra, it's like a sign on the cobra's neck. This is the south node of the moon, which is directly opposite to the north node of the moon. And they represent something that we have mastered, that we are detaching from. We're also utilizing in this lifetime, so we're not getting rid of it. Many astrologers interpret it as getting something to get rid of. No, we're not getting rid of it. We are using that knowledge, and then we are looking towards the north node of the moon, where we're gonna learn something new, take steps into the future. So this eclipse is caused by the south node. What does that tell us? It tells us that there's going to be something that we need to detach from. That is relative to Leo in the 5th house. 5th house represents our creative expression. Now, there's a lot of cliche sentences used in astrology. What does that mean, creative expression? Well, what's the ultimate creative expression of human beings? Most of us. Not all of us. The children. So 5th house, creative projects, children, something that we make, we create. So what's going to happen there? There's going to be a reset. As I told you, the curtain's going to go down and then it's going to go up again. Solar eclipse. So whatever has been happening for the past 6 months will be reset when it comes to your creativity and your children and the way that you perhaps raise your children. We also have a gaseous, benevolent giant that protects us from the Kuiper belt of asteroids, because we're in the Goldilocks belt. And the planet that actually protects us from being bombarded by those asteroids is Jupiter. Jupiter, yes, the benevolent Jupiter. So it's in Cancer, which is great. Yeah, and Mercury is there as well, the messenger of gods that rules communication. So when we sum all that up together, you're going to ask me, come on, get to the point. What does that mean? That's the most frequent question that I get after my philosophy. Well, but what does that mean? Well, it could manifest that you are going to perhaps let go of a certain way of raising your children. Or perhaps children will be moving away from home. Could mean that you would be changing the way of creating things. If you're an artist, if you have your own business, the way that you used to work with your clients may completely change. And because Jupiter is there is a benevolence. Even though Jupiter is under the heavy rays of the sun, that means it's not as strong as it would like to be, but everything in nature happens for a reason. This is not a coincidence. Jupiter is still working, right? But because it's so close to the sun, we're going to see its power come back around the 17th of August. It is helping. And Mercury is there as well. So the communication will help you while going through those changes and letting go of those patterns. For you, Aries, communicating will help. So if you're facing confusion, if you're facing loss, verbalize it, communicate it, use the benevolence of Jupiter. And when you see that things are being taken away rapidly, perhaps, it could happen, that means that you were resisting it. So normally we can walk with the planets and collaborate, but if we resist, we may feel that something is ripped away. And Leo in the fifth house means that whatever you're creating, also to do with romantic partners, like dating belongs here. South Node is here. It means it's not going to stand for inauthenticity, fake stuff, fake partners. You may be attracted to a lot of Leos, but with Leos, there may be a lot of surfacey glory, applause-seeking attention, without credit, right? So perhaps you're going to be changing your affinities towards Leonine partners, Leonine attributes, partners who perhaps have these patterns, but perhaps in the past you were attracted to those and then you realized they were inauthentic and it was all surfacey. So now South Node invites you to, if you're dating, you're going to see. You may meet someone and they may try to swipe you off your feet, and they may have this poise and glory that you may lack, so people believe in this kind of a you complete me thing, which is completely fake. You're not looking for someone to complete you. You are looking to complete yourself and then find the partner with the with the right resonance to you. So any kind of partnerships with people with narcissistic traits. Yeah, I'm very careful when I use this word. Okay, so we could have narcissistic traits and that's perfectly fine. But then NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, is a completely different story. So all these kind of people that you may have been attracted to, you'll be able to see through them and leave them behind. Detach. K2, South Node, I'm using Vedic terms, is going to make sure that happens. And when that happens, it's not just going to be this time. Okay, well, this time, I managed to see through this guy that I was dating. It will mean this is the change, like forever. I'm never going to repeat the same dating mistakes again. I'm going to still look for Leonine qualities, leadership, truth, leading by example, leaders sacrifice as well. Yeah, I'm going to look for that as well. I'm going to look for the real thing, not for the applause-seeking people. So, okay, again, to sum up, 3 areas. Creative projects, if you have your own business, change with that, radical change towards authenticity, something to do with children, the way you behave or are with your children, detaching from the patterns that don't work. And the third thing, the dating arena. That's going to change. You're going to have new values for partners, for those of you who are dating. All right, so now let's move on to the next sign number 2. So we have 1, then we have 2. I was born, and here I am, a little baby. There it is, the first push, the fire, the energy. So then what do I need? I need food, I need shelter, I need comfort, I need mommy. So I need all those lovely earthy things to support me, to make me feel comfortable. So we're going to discuss Taurus. So, no planets in your first house if you're a Taurus rising or Taurus moon. And let's see where does this solar eclipse, this reset button fall? Which area of life? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. What does that mean? What's that area? Well, 4th house represents our roots. It is called in Latin imum coeli, the bottom of the chart. This is where it's completely dark. What does that mean? It's midnight. Then opposite to that, I'm just teaching you now, is zenith. It's noon. So we have noon and midnight. What does that mean? Fourth house, why is it midnight? Because it represents our roots, our ancestral history, family values. Do we feel emotionally safe within our family structure? It represents the mother, family environment. If you think of a tree, this is Jungian. As big as the upper layer of the tree with all the branches is, this is the depth of the tree's roots. And it has to be like that. And it's connected. Because if you don't have the fourth house sorted out, harmonized, you can't grow. The branches can't grow. And they are deep, deep roots. So all of these planets are going to affect your family environment. They may be big changes when it comes to your immediate family, perhaps moving, perhaps selling home, family home. It could have something to do with inheritances as well, because it's connected to the ancestors. So is the 8th house. So there's going to be that reset button. You may realize that this particular way of living or family dynamics is destructive, not stimulating for me, and things need to change. Maybe roles will change. And also there will be detachment. So depending where you are, you're going to detach yourself from, let's say this is where family trauma lies. You are going to experience detachment in terms of, okay, this household has been chaotic, and I've inherited this black sheep scapegoat role. I'm carrying everybody's complexes and traumas. 4 generations before, or we have addictions and stuff happening through mother's bloodline, father's bloodline, all of that stuff, then you are just going to all of a sudden be ready to detach. You may have struggled, you may have tried, you may have acted as a therapist, you may have thought, oh my God, this is never going to end. But now, south node of the moon, 29 degrees. Anaretic, it means critical. It has to happen. The anaretic degree, that's what it means. We will be able to detach. And then, as we have said, like solar eclipse is not just like turning the light off. It's also, turning the light back on. So, wait until January next year. This is the duration of this eclipse, and see what kind of changes you go through when it comes to home and family. Mother, also your mother, maybe your relationship with your mother. You detach, you undergo changes, and the interaction has to change, either by you detaching or by the dynamics changing. So it's your choice. You either walk with the change or you be dragged. As I said, Mercury is there, Jupiter is there. So use your communication, open your mouth and speak. Don't keep it inside. It will help. Just take a short break. I'll be back in a second. Okay, Gemini risings and Gemini moons. Your constellation is hosting a planet Uranus there, and around 4 degrees of Uranus. I will entertain this for just a few seconds. This deserves another video altogether, and this video is about the solar eclipse in Leo. But let me just talk very briefly about Uranus in your sign, in your ascendant, hosting Uranus. So Uranus, astrology, lovers, researchers, detectives. We know that Uranus is the planet of changes, an electrifying, revolutionary, rebellious planet that rotates on its hips, does things its own way, and brings changes into our lives, wanted or unwanted. So it's if it's in your ascendant, it's going to definitely bring changes to do with the way you see yourself, present yourself, physical appearance, partnerships, all sorts of changes. Your life, it will, for some people, turns upside down. And then if your moon is there and Uranus affected, it may change your living situation. You might move, may affect your everything that is represented by moon. I'm going to try and keep this concise because I still have to focus on this solar eclipse area for you. And what area is that? Let's count again together. 1, 2, 3. Eclipse is happening. Solar eclipse. Yeah, reset. Curtains down, curtains up. Next scene in the third house. So what is the third house? Third house represents our immediate environment, our neighborhoods. This is right behind me, all the people, all the buildings around me. Also represents short trips, back and forth, communication, reading, everything represented with by the planet Mercury. Mercury is together with Jupiter and the eclipse and the excuse me, the south node. So that means that changes will happen to do with what? Let me be more specific. To do with your neighborhood. You might move, change apartment. You might experience relationship or the way you interact with your neighbors. You may experience some sort of a change of the way that you want to participate in, because South Node is there, detachment in, let's say, group chats about neighborhood issues. I don't know, construction, whatever, children's area, or there are these WhatsApp groups and everybody participates and shares their opinion. So Gemini, known for their opinion and always being in the center of happenings. So you may have been really active on those groups, and you knew about neighbors and who is who and why and what, and So, but there may be now. The time has come for a change. So those relationships, your interest will change. You'll withdraw. You won't be that interested into those groups around you. It also rules siblings. Brothers, sisters, nephews, nieces. You may shift your attitude or maybe your interactions with them. You may withdraw. Mercury is there, so use the power of Mercury to communicate. Even if you feel the need to withdraw, I'm withdrawing from this social group, but try to be polite about it. Don't burn the bridges, because South Node has a tendency to do that. Yeah. You're going to withdraw. Or maybe you are the kind of a person that used to travel a lot. The third house rules back and forth travel, but within the vicinity of, let's say, your domicile country. So, for example, it may happen because South Node is there. Okay, bam, the company changes its policy. We no longer want our people to travel to the cities and do their work or meet the client. Now you're going to have to sit at home and do Zoom meetings. So that could happen. The change in communication. And you're going to have to go along with it. There's no negotiation. It will change within 6 months. So the third house, the third area of life. Communication, vicinity, neighbors, trips, siblings, relationship with siblings, withdrawal, getting more about yourself instead of being in the midst of everything that's happening for you, Gemini. But you're going to get a lot of things happening within the next 7 years with Uranus there, for those of you that are Gemini risings and moons. Okay, let's continue. And we've reached Cancer. Fourth sign. So Cancer, on the 12th of August, if you're on the northern hemisphere, depending if you're in Europe or something, there's a date difference, 12th or 11th or 13th of August, depending on where you are. I'm currently in Europe, so it's going to be the 12th of August, 20 degrees Leo eclipse. And look, Cancer is hosting Mars there. Mars is a quick, well, relatively quick. It doesn't take 7 years like Uranus to move around. So it stays in the sign for about a month. But what does that mean for Cancer risings and Cancer moons? For Cancer rising, it means you're going to get this surge of energy. Mars is energy. And while Mars, if it's in its pure potentiality, it's kind of a warrior. I'll do this. I'll fight for it. I'll be number one. But he's not in Aries anymore. He's in Cancer. So he's like a pushed in the kitchen. That's where Mars is. So what Cancer rising may experience is, yeah, there's this surge of energy. It might be manifested by rage, because the healthiest way of dealing with anger, which is a necessary emotion, is to express it, right? I mean, not physically, but channel it. Understand it within and then channel it. So Mars. So for Cancer rising, it could, because Cancer push emotions down and rage down, it could result into passive aggressiveness. Pretending that everything's okay, and then, this cold shoulder thing. You should guess why I am upset today, and washing the dishes without even looking at you. That's passive aggressive Mars in Cancer. If your moon is in Cancer, Mars coming there can sometimes mean that increase in sexual activity. Mars and Moon, very fertile combination. If you're trying to conceive, for those of you that are, or fatal attraction, a man. For a woman, it's a man. There's gonna be a man. But yeah, I just have to mention that. So yeah, that's a surge of. It's a positive thing. You can get more energy. You can use it. If you see that you're getting angry, Cancer is rising, and I'm just going to briefly entertain this before I move to the eclipse signification. You can express it constructively. If you like gym or not, maybe yoga, or maybe passive activity, do that. Find a constructive way of expressing that more. But people are going to get on your nerves, and you may not be able to just ignore it. You may not. And if you do, then you're going to have psychosomatic symptoms. I can't, my legs, my arthritis, why is it happening? Psychosoma, psyche. Soma is the body, psyche is the psyche. So, I'm not expressing my anger. I'm just playing nice and suppressing it, bottling it down. And then it has to come up. It showed my body's telling me, oh, no, I can't. I'm so tired. That's also a way of passively aggressively expressing it so that other people notice, and then they come help you. Instead of that, Cancers, try to change that. Try to be more like Aries. Hey, I'm tired. I need you to do this for me now because I'm tired. That's better. All right, let's go to the eclipse. So eclipse, second house, very important. I mean, any area of life is important, but where are these changes happening for you is about what is the second house. Values, worth, money, income. How do we feel about ourselves? Most people on this planet, Earth is about values, right? Earth is about abundance, about Mother Nature. So the shift will happen when it comes to your things that you're surrounded with, that you love and like. Cancers. If you're a rising Cancer rising or Cancer moon, you probably love your comfort and love your coziness and the way that things are in your house and all those beautiful things that make us feel so safe and so warm and cozy at home. So all of those things are a manifestation, result. I'm not going to use the word manifestation. I'm going to use the result. Something that we can touch, feel physically, something around us. But where does this come from? Ideas, right? The principal ideas come mind over matter. First, we have to have an idea or inside before we manifest it outside, or we get the result outside. As within, so without. So our values and money, and if we have nice things around us, and if we have the car that we want to have, or the job that we want to have, income, everything that it sounds scary. Okay, South Node is there. Is it going to be taken away from you? It might be taken away from you. But why? Why? Everything is in perfect harmony when it comes to the law of nature and cosmic universal law. Like Jeffrey Wolf Green always said, natural law. Because that means that your inner worth and value about yourself is not tweaked. I'm going to say tweaked. Regardless of how old you are, your value may be external, like for the majority of people. We are creatures of dependency. What does that mean? When we're born, babies, we need someone to take care of us. We're helpless. We're not like cats or deer or cows. They can stand up on their 4 feet and then eat grass or move around. With babies, we can't do anything. So that's how we learn dependency. And then if we get all that, if our needs are met, we get that sense of being able to rely or being taken care of, your needs being met. But ultimately, what you have around you is based on self-image. So this South Node, if you are dependent on, as I said, regardless of your age, your values are dependent on external factors. Mom, dad, children, neighbors, in-laws, colleagues. What do people think about me? If you want to keep appearances, you lose your job. You're getting divorced. This is just assumptions. Rambling. Let's say I am getting divorced or I'm getting separated, but I am a Cancer rising, and I just want to keep it on the covers. I don't want my siblings to know. I don't want my in-laws. I'm trying to keep appearances. I'm posting pictures with my family and my hubby together, but we are just, fighting cats and dogs, or maybe it's a dysfunctional relationship, or maybe we are, we don't have enough money. We are, because this is about the money, income. I lost my job. My husband lost his job, whatever. And I'm still keeping appearances. That's not going to work. South Node is going to take it away. Why? Because there is so much wisdom there. Think of Cancer, right? Family, crab, that shell, the need for community, for family. But ultimately, what the divine source is trying to communicate, that we have to find reliance within that spark. And all of us have it. We're all given it. We're all given it. We may feel, I would be nothing without my husband. We complete each other. That is just, simply put, fake. That is so fake. We're not created incomplete. Okay, you complete yourself. That other person complete themselves. Then you meet, share the frequency and get together. So forget about completion thing. Develop that self-worth within you. And what's going to happen if you don't? If your sense of value and self-worth is dependent on other people's praise, You're gonna fall. Life will push you. Once, twice, lose my job. Third time, lose my income, lose my house, get betrayed by my husband. What happens? I fall. Where do I fall ultimately? I fall onto myself, right? I fall down onto myself and then I pick myself up. So that's what falling onto yourself means, and that's why it keeps happening. Because when you fall down back on yourself, you're the one that is going to lift you up. And that's how you create spine, right? That's how strength, the will and value. That's how you prove your value to yourself. And that's something nobody can take that away from you. It's not money. It's not a house. It's not a husband. It's not a pendant. It's within. So when you remember that strength, when you get it, oh my God, I did it. I hit the rock bottom. But look at me. I'm standing up. Who can take that away from you? Nobody can take that away from you. So that is an externalized sense of self-worth for those of us that had to create it and build it that way. Okay, Cancer risings and Cancer moons have an amazing solar eclipse, and this process is it's a blessing. It's a unique chance to restructure yourself and your self-worth. And this is this is not something that is going to be like, okay, I'm doing it for a month and then I'm going back to normal. No. When that happens, when you restructure your worth and value once, sticks with you forever. And that's going to be, the process will last for about 6 months for you. It's not like an overnight thing, but you'll get there and you'll get so much worth and value from this eclipse if you let go whatever is not you, your inner strength and will and value. And also rethink your values. Maybe your values need to be restructured. That happened to me in different areas, like different ages. When you're 20, when you're 30, go to those areas of values of family, money, health, spirituality, and check if you still have the same values. Check them. Okay, I'll move on to the Leo itself. So Leo risings and Leo moons. Eclipse is happening in your ascendant or on your moon. If it's on your moon, it could indicate a change. Moon is always to do with the mother house change. One manifestation. Moving houses. But going back to the ascendant, if you're a Leo ascendant, it could represent, it has to do with complete change of your personality in terms of the way that you're perceived. Because ascendant is always that interface with the world. And being a Leo, it is sort of in the genes. It's a natural thing. Look at the animal, Leo, the leader of the pack. Some people will talk about narcissistic traits, not NPD narcissistic traits. Okay, yeah. Leo needs an audience. Leo needs an applause. All that will be questioned here. The switch is going to go off and on. Okay, so if you're a Leo and if you can't, for example, you won't be able to live out of the old glory. You might be exposed. You may not get that much attention. You might be questioned. You might be surprised by your audience reactions. You may experience, because ascendant represents the way we look as well, some sort of changes in appearance as well. And everything that is not authentic about yourself has to go, because South Node is there. It demands a change. That's going to be reflected on the mundane scene too, because Leos are rulers, emperors, and kings. So South Node of the Moon, or Ketu, does not bargain. It's a force of nature that requires truth, authenticity. If you do something, you don't do it for applause or appearances. You do it out of the raw feeling to either alleviate the pain of someone, to improve someone's life. So I invite all Leo ascendants, you will be asked to tone down that flashiness and to do things anonymously. Whatever you have been doing. Leos are usually in creative, Leo ascendants, in creative arts, or, being in the spotlight. Try doing it out of the spotlight. Try giving praise, mentor someone, give credits to someone else. So this is how this South Node will be satisfied. I'm going to do this. I'm going to be part of this random just thought. A part of this community. Part of this anonymous community to help people dealing with trauma or whatever. I'm going to help whatever your skill is. Okay, I'm really good at public speaking. Let me try and help someone for free, or just notice that someone is struggling and help them out with that, and be in the shadow. Because if you don't, there will be huge disappointments. Yep, there'll be disappointment. You won't be getting the same applause that you used to, because of the South Node asking for sacrifice, giving to others, giving to the community, and the North Node is in Aquarius. So people, help people. And when it comes to physical appearance, be careful about self-praise or boasting, things like that. Maybe a little humbleness will help. It won't backfire. And then when it comes to aesthetic changes, maybe refrain from that while South Node is there. If you want to do some surgeries or rejuvenating things, I would refrain from that for the time being, for the next 6 months, because of the South Node. It could backfire. If let's hear your physical appearance, we all care about it, but focus more on giving your shine, your solar energy, right, to others. Shine on others. Shine a light on others. That's how you're gonna have success with this solar eclipse in Leo. Your ruler will be eclipsed, so the self concept will be renewed, and you're gonna feel good when you do good for others and put yourself behind the curtain. All right, let's continue. Now we've reached the sign of Virgo, the earthy sign of Virgo. Our lovely healers, our lovely practical Virgos, self-conscious Virgos. This eclipse for Virgo ascendant and Virgo moons is in the 12th house. See, it's just before. The 12th house is probably the most, other than the 8th house, the most challenging to grasp in this 3D reality, because it represents the solution, the ending, our dreams. Represents also, it represents faraway countries and journeys, both let's say pilgrimage journeys or moving countries, and also spiritual journeys. It could be a journey that you take in your meditative sessions, or in the jungles of Peru using one of the medicinal herbs. I'm not referencing anything here or advising, but these kind of journeys, it's the realm of unconscious. If you're familiar with the Freud's a drawing of the big iceberg and the visible part of the iceberg, that was Leo, right? The persona. But the below part of the iceberg, unconscious, subconscious. Sub, it means under, submarine. That is the 12th house. When we dream and remember our dreams, that's meditation. That's all. That's the 12th house. So the changes for you, Virgo, are going to perhaps be more quiet, especially if you're a Virgo moon. Quiet in terms of you're going to be cleansing your unconscious. Maybe the things will resurface from your past. Things that you forgot or suppressed. They may come up in your dreams. Or you may become aware because the 12th house is the house of self-undoing. What does that mean? What kind of a lingo is that? It means that self-sabotaging things. So Virgo, sometimes they do have self-sabotaging malware running in the background. But this eclipse will show them to you. Unprocessed feelings. Oh my God, that happened a year ago. I thought I was over it, but then I'm experiencing it, or I had a dream about that. Well, those emotions have not been processed. And you may realize how you self-sabotaged yourself. Sorry, that's self. You may realize, okay, what are my patterns in relationships or friendships? I'm always the one to organize everyone. I'm always the one to initiate. I'm always the one to drive everyone home. And then you may feel that resentment. Why? I have spent such a long time healing my family. I tried to heal my brother, sister, whatever, my ancestors, or I know their pain, I know everything. What about you, Virgo the healer? What about your own wounds? How did you self-sabotage? What did you do? How did you hide that pain from you and thought that, okay, by healing others, then I'll feel the satisfaction, but I won't really, I'll do it in a covert way so that I don't feel like there's anything wrong with me. This is what that solar eclipse in the 12th house will mean. To be practical, you might move abroad, far away, and you might go on some kind of a pilgrimage journey, mental journey, in terms of realizing things from your unconscious mind. Thank you, dear Virgos. And this solar eclipse in the 12th house will bring major changes from within, and that, of course, will manifest from without. Let's continue our analysis for the solar eclipse in Leo. And what kind of changes it brings for the sign of Libra. So Libra is hosting Venus in its constellation, its ruling sign. So for those of you with the Libra rising or ascendant, or Libra moons, your ruler is there, which is amazing. One of the signs that Venus, the planet of beauty, luxury, comforts, giving and receiving, equal giving and receiving. In Libra, Venus, I'm just going to briefly address this particular position because you're hosting it, and it's your ruler. In Libra, Venus has a slightly different nature than when she is in very sort of sensual, fleshy Taurus, earthy Taurus. In Libra, Libra is an air sign. So Venus here represents social justice, beauty, harmony, the power of equilibrium. Even though Libras are oftentimes Libra ascendants and Libra moons are in constant search for equilibrium and harmony. And it's really difficult to get that balance. And sometimes their lifetime is about actually seeking and maintaining that balance within self and then others. But this is what Venus, the highest manifestation of Venus in Libra represents. Harmony amongst people, justice, beauty. So she is here, and I'm using the word she for this wonderful planet. Great for you. It gives you, if it's your rising sign, it will give you that sort of a glow. You'll feel it. You may be drawn to changing, undergoing some beauty treatments, whatever you feel drawn to. Venus is the one exerting that influence, maybe a new hairstyle, a new routine, regime, a massage, something that you enjoy, you feel better about yourself, you buy some new outfits. That's what Venus here is. And you feel more loved and appreciated and all that, so it's perfect. For those of you who are, Libra moons, that means that love and appreciation will come from family members. And then now, refocusing on the eclipse, the solar eclipse that is going to unfold within the next 6 months. So this switch, off and on switch, where is it for you? Which area? Which house? 11th house. Leo is the 11th house for Virgo. Fire and air. Okay, so this fiery 11th house for you represents communities, people, social engagement, groups you belong to. So all those things that Libras are usually engaged with, all those activities, groups, whatever communal activities there are, maybe church gatherings, whatever your flavor is, maybe some reading clubs, sports clubs, associations of single parents, all those things are in the 11th house. It's also the house of fulfilled desires, desire fulfillment in the 11th house. So this is what is undergoing a restart. Turn off, turn on. And the South Node is there. So again, with every sign, I will emphasize that wherever the South Node, it means, okay, you've done enough here. You've tried out all the techniques, whatever worked. Or maybe you went into the habit and you kept repeating things that don't work. Now you have to withdraw it. Now you're going to see it for what it is. So perhaps some of your associations might disintegrate, undergo changes. You might leave some of those associations. You might change them. You might become a member of some other associations. And when it comes to your dreams, hopes, and wishes, you may experience fulfillment of a particular dream, but then you may notice that it's not followed with feeling of satisfaction, and you may wonder, oh my God, I got a bonus, but why does my heart still feel no joy? So my dream has come true. Yeah, I'm finally a homeowner, but like, where's the joy? What's happening? So that could also be one of the manifestations when it comes to hopes, dreams, and wishes, or these communities. Mercury is there, and Jupiter is there. What does that mean? That means that using your words, whatever changes you're undergoing, it will help you not to burn bridges, for example, with associations and all those people when you undergo these changes, but using the words to actually say, hey, I'm actually going this other way, or you know. And you may simply just feel like this is not for me anymore. I don't feel drawn to participate. I don't actually want this. Why do I not want this thing anymore that I really, really wanted? Those kind of things. So those dreams, visions, wishes, contributions to the society, that is going to undergo change for you, Libras. Venus is going to be there. She's going to help you maybe figure it out. No, okay. Maybe the first step will be just withdrawing, because this solar eclipse takes 6 months to unfold, right? So it's the first you withdraw because you realize, okay, something's off. So what people do is just let me withdraw. Let me just figure it out. Then you wait. And then when that impulse comes, okay, this is what my next. Now the reset, the curtain is up, and then the curtain goes down, and then it goes up again. New scene, scene 4. Okay, what am I going to do? Which associations do I want to belong to? What are my high visions, dreams that I want to give to society? Because that's the 11th house. It's always to do with groups of people. It's gonna fit perfectly into place with your rising sign or moon sign, because Libras are all about that. It's spreading harmony in society. That these are going to be some fantastic ideas, but you're gonna have to let go of the previous ones, even though it's really scary. Like, oh, how can I? I've been a part of this association since I was blah blah blah, and all these people. South no. Detach. And then always a circle of light, new things repeat. Okay, thank you, Libra. We'll talk again at the end of the month for everyone with the lunar eclipse. Now, let's talk about Scorpio. All right, so Scorpio, this eclipse happens for you in the 10th house. Okay? This is the 10th house, the zenith, the top of the chart that rules our contribution into the world. That rules are not our job, but our contribution, our vocation. What we give are something that Hindus would call dharma. Dharma. Why am I here? What am I here to give? It's the most visible part of the chart. It's where sun is at noon, opposite to the 4th house. Sun is at the bottom, it's midnight. So this is noon. Very visible changes. The changes that happen to you about your job, your vocation, your profession, what you do in the world, what you give out there are going to be very visible to everyone. And Scorpio, if the fame is what you had, or if what you did depended on validation of others, the shoulder tap, if that's what gave you power, if that's what you solely depended on, of course we all like the tap on the back. But if that's what you only depended on, that's how you identified your purpose in the world, it will go down. Because of the South Node. So whatever you're doing out there in the world, it will change. This solar eclipse may represent a job change, a life direction change. The 10th house also represents status. It's very visible. So you may change your status from married to unmarried, vice versa. Unmarried to married. You may become a grandpa, grandma. Something very visible. You may become an empty nester. Your kids may leave. That's also a change of status. It also involves a little bit of a feeling of a loss because of the South Node. So this is not going to be that kind of a change in direction in life that you're going to be, yeah, I can't wait for that. If North Node was there, that would be that. Oh yeah, the next step, finally. Yeah, but South Node is there. So it means that it won't be that easy to let go of that previous cycle. So you may feel you're Scorpio rising, you're Scorpio moon. It's all or nothing. Fixed. Fixed means don't want to change. Just like Leo, so fixed. Oh my God. So it won't be as easy. But it has to happen. You're going to have to detach from whatever your status was and trust that the switch goes on and off. As I already mentioned for the signs, you know, the curtain goes up and then it goes down and then it goes up again. So the new scene begins. And I'm not going to tell you trust the universe. I'm going to tell you that whatever that new status, new changes in your vocation, what you give yourself, what you get out of yourself for the entire world, it's your purpose here. It's gonna have to come from you. It won't be just, you know, universe will just throw you this. No. And what that means, it will require always retrospection. It has to come from within, because this is Leo and South Node, authentic change. I'm going to figure out, Scorpio, what is it that I do really, really well? Yes, I've been let's say, Scorpio, and then 10th house Leo. I have been an amazing HR manager, and, you know, I manage human resources, and, you know, I know a lot of people, and I have quite a bit of power, right? Scorpio is like that too. Yeah, that power that knowing people gives you. And all of a sudden, restructuring happens and you lose that power of giving people jobs and knowing people or connecting people. The power of resources, for example. And then you don't want to let it go. You don't want to let it go because you're a Scorpio. You have to have this osmosis with the object that gives you power. However, South Node demands it. You will probably let it go kicking and screaming. I hope there are no self-destructive tendencies. Those Scorpios sometimes have a tendency to destroy everything else around them as they go down. All right, we don't need to be dark about it, but your ruler is Pluto and Mars. You are going to find out what is it in you that you can do really, really well. Your purpose that is going to be authentic within you, given by nature, right? And give it out there. That's going to change. So but you're going to have to find it inside of you. It's not going to be given to you in a dream by universe or whatever. It's going to just come your way. No, it's going to, okay, wow. So you're going to have to be reflective and think, okay, there's this one thing about me that I'm giving you just a random example, scorpionic example. I have always been a really good silent witness to other people's grief. Or I have many friends that confide in me the secrets that they don't confide in anyone else. I have this innate ability to protect or to react readily in dangerous situations. I know when things go wrong and I can act without emotion, and I can protect and I can preempt danger. All those sort of things. So those things that I was perhaps hiding, my abilities to, sense things. Now I'm going to actually acknowledge them, whatever they are. It doesn't have to be this. It can be whatever. Some of them you may have been hiding for a really long time, because Scorpionic people are extremely secretive and they have powers. Then you're going to decide, okay, I'm putting them here on the zenith at noon, and I'm going to use them, and I don't care if everyone else sees it. This is something that I have. I'm going to put it out there. So this is what this eclipse will bring. Shutdown and then restart. Thank you, Scorpio. Now let's go to Sagittarius, or Sag. Yes, Sag. Sagittarius. An arrow to the sky. So what does this eclipse bring for Sagittarius ascendants? Getting tired. Or Sagittarius moons. Where is it? 1, 12, 11, 10, 9. Ninth house. What does this house or area of life represent? Philosophy, higher education, everything to do with Jupiter, knowledge, education, religion, philosophy, faraway countries, pilgrimages, going places, traveling, wandering, seeking knowledge. This is where changes will happen for you, Sagittarius risings and Sagittarius moons. Especially Sagittarius moons, it may involve traveling abroad to study, ninth house, higher education. That means post-grad. Something to do with a higher purpose. Ascendance, what does it mean? Moving countries as well. Or it could mean eternally, if we're looking at what happens in internal changes. Sagittarius normally have a high philosophy, high appreciation for knowledge, education, etc. Ethics, morale, etc. All things equal. I'm speaking generally about Sagittarius sign. So ninth house is actually your house. It may involve a change of beliefs. So important. Perhaps you had a belief structure. Religion, belief, spiritual, whatever you want to call it. Some people are religious, some are not. Some are so-called spiritual, some are whatever. Belief in the source, creator, creatress. Maybe, I mean, for sure, if you're Sagittarius rising or moon, you do have a structure of beliefs, whatever it is. So that's going to undergo changes. You're going to be like, okay, maybe you meet people and then you question your beliefs. You could question your ethics as well. You could question, how do I question other people or measure other people? And that's going to undergo changes. Perhaps abroad, perhaps not. Maybe it will be internalized process, but your beliefs will change. And beliefs are everything. The ninth house is such an important house. Our beliefs, what we believe, steers our life. So that's what this solar eclipse represents for you, Sagittarius rising and Sagittarius moon. Feel free to comment what happens. Then we can all learn from your experiences. Okay, let's move on to Capricorn. Capricorn, the goat. So, earthy goat, climbing those crazy steep rocks. What does this eclipse represent for you? Where is it? It's in the 8th house of your chart. What is the 8th house? 8th house is the house, as I said, other than the 12th house, is one of the most mysterious, difficult to explain areas or houses in astrology, because number 8 or Scorpio, like it represents transformation. And we use the word transformation because we don't want to say other words. We don't want to use other words. The 8th house is the Tower. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the tarot card, the Tower. It's like a tower burning and people are escaping, jumping. It's the inevitable part of life. How do you transform? What has to happen for you to transform anything? You have to crash first, and then you transform it into something else. So the changes will happen in that house of transformation. It also represents your in-laws, unearned income. I have to explain this. This doesn't mean that you stole something, or no, this is the money of your in-laws or inheritance money. Resources also. All kinds of wealth. Pluto governs 8th house, Scorpionic 8th house, right? That's the natural rulership. I don't want to confuse you. So much wealth on the in the underworld. Let's talk about oil, for example. So much wealth. But you don't just get that wealth. You have to go down to the bottom of the well and undergo transformation to get it. So for Capricorns, it represents psychological changes. Maybe you're grieving a loss. Could be a loss of yourself, part of you. A loss of a relationship, a loss of something that you thought was yours. Because Pluto functions on the principle of osmosis. It just, if it wants something, it kind of becomes a part of it. So now you have to let go of all of these things that are not you. So loss. So through loss, you losing something, you are gonna, for the next 6 months, you're going to rejuvenate yourself. This is the house of longevity too, long life, yes, the 8th house. So you may have undergone a serious illness. And after that serious illness and turmoil, now when this eclipse happens, you start rejuvenating. And it's that extreme power of rejuvenation. It's just unreal, the Scorpionic power. So for you, it's in the house of Leo. So maybe that 8th house of transformation for the Capricorn ascendants and moon. Your in-laws, your inheritance, your psychological patterns. They were governed by external validation, that is Leo, by someone else, or approval. But that will crash because of the South Node. So now you will know, you will basically stand naked and you will know what is the waste that you need to release. Your own inner psychological waste, and then some things will just be taken away. Or you may lose an inheritance. That because in Leo you may be taking for granted, right? Because Leo is also, it could, in a negative shadow interpretation, represent entitlement. So you may be counting on this inheritance, and then things happen and you don't get it. So it's a loss, but then it's a chance to rebuild new psychological landscape from the inside out. Internal changes and turmoil. All that. Capricorn. Now let's go to Aquarius. Rahu there. Gradually moving into Aquarius. This is the north node of the moon. So that means you are going to get Aquarius risings and Aquarius moons. A lot of new opportunities. You will be launched into many new directions. However, with Rahu, it's always opposing Ketu or the South Node, North and South. South, what we have learned, what we have a lot of knowledge about, and then the North, we are inexperienced with seeking knowledge here. We want things to happen here. So, North Node is going through your sign. You're going to get a lot of opportunities, but what the trap is with the North Node is that unless you master this South Node and get that knowledge humbly, because it's in the Leo house, right? Humbly. Then you can move into this direction of the North Node. Be careful of the new partnerships, new people that are coming your way for sure. And because this eclipse is in the 7th house of partnership, committed, signed, right? Where you sign. It's not a 5th house, just a dating thing. It's the 7th. Committed, signed partnerships, contracts, marriage, etc. This is where the changes will happen. So Pluto is here in your 1st house as well. Leo risings and Leo moons. A very, very, very transformative period of time for you. Pluto is, I don't mean to scare anyone, and I'm not a doom and gloom astrologer. Pluto is the slowest, not an asteroid. They downgraded Pluto to an asteroid. No, this is the most powerful, psychologically transformative planet in the zodiac. So when it's in your 1st house, in your ascendant or moon, that means deep psychological changes. And this North Node and Pluto here are going to meet. Not now, yeah, but sorry, I'm just changing the position of the North Node. So the North Node moved backwards. So there's going to be a conjunction. Very, very important, crucial events happen. So it has to do with the transformation of yourself as you are, 1st house, the way people see you, perceive you. And the eclipse is going to trigger that. By what? By the South Node, by changes. So your partnerships will change. Some of the partnerships, the business partnerships will dissolve. Marriages may dissolve. And the emphasis will be on me, you, figuring yourself out. New people will come, new friends, new acquaintances, and always filter them through your previous experiences, through what you know, through the South Node. Never neglect the power and all the knowledge we have accumulated in the South Node. So detachment from partnerships, committed partnerships, and then a reset, formation of the new ones. I'll talk about Pluto in Aquarius in a different video. I'll try to stay focused on this amazing solar eclipse. Aquarius, partnerships. Okay, now, last but not the least, Pisces. 2 fishes that swim in opposite directions. Okay. A lot of symbolism there. Now let's talk about Pisces. So Neptune has left your sign. I think you're out of the fog now. And this eclipse happens where? Shall we count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In the 6th house. Excuse me. I think I need to remain focused. And let me now discuss the events of the eclipse for Pisces and the 6th house. So 6th house naturally belongs to Virgo. That means in the natural zodiac. And represents our daily chores, like daily tasks, little things, routines and health and what we do to maintain order, right? Virgo, it's about practicality, habits, and Pisces is a very watery sign. So this 6th house is not its natural affinity, right? Pisces ascendants and lovely moons are extremely sensitive creatures. So they don't really care about the physical reality, you know, the practicality of cupboards and cups and saucers and all that, and who's going to pay the bills and all these things. However, it's a very important house because it also represents our health. It represents our pets as well. And succinctly, if I would have to explain it to this 6th house or this area of our lives, so it's basically daily things and jobs and the little errands that you do, or job at work that you do, or let's say things that you have to habitually do in order to, you know, stay on track. So this is very important, especially for Pisces, because they tend to lose themselves. And we are still on Earth in 3D. So whatever habits, health habits, or maybe situation with a pet. And sometimes it doesn't mean one and then not the other. Sometimes things happen in the 6th house. When there was an eclipse in my 6th house, my cat wandered away and never came back. I don't want that to happen to you. Just, you may get a new pet, for example, or you may get a pet, or God knows, or you may change your daily habits, you may change your food habits, you may change your exercise routine, or you may have not exercised, but now Neptune was, let's say, in your 1st house. It's not anymore, but maybe you neglected your health, or Neptune is always to do with dependencies, etc., not wanting to live in reality. So maybe there was an addiction. So you went through that stage. Now you have to pay attention at your health. Introduce some new habits. Maybe do some health checkups, new routines. So the old state of the 6th house of health and routines and pets and daily chores, if there was none, that is going to now have to be changed. So you're going to have to let go of, let's say, being lazy or neglecting your, I don't know, cleaning up your garage or your space because the South Node is there. So now it's going to be really, really important to get that in order, the Virgo way. And also, of course, it's in Leo, but Leo represents your 6th house. So that means these tasks, these little routines, they are not, Leo is glamorous, but they're not going to be glamorous. Because the South Node is there. So whatever you have to do, it won't be so glamorous or pleasant or comfortable, but you're going to have to do it with discipline. Thank you, Pisces, and thank you, everyone. I will be making another video for the lunar eclipse now, the manifestation. At the end of the month, August 28th, I will be making that video too. Please share your comments, questions, and I guess I wish you a great eclipse, and I hope the developments of this amazing chance to change our life go in the best possible way for you, and you get the best of it. Thank you so much, and see you in the next episode with Astro Detective. Bye for now.